exactly 9 o'clock. Or at least as close to 9 o'clock.
I've got my eye on the stories of the Tales of the Jedi graphic novel.
Those are
online.
fun. Those are fun. But yeah, so like they're doing that, and so I'm buying a bunch of books that my kids have requested. And what's cool about it is like, and we're live, so just as pre-show going into actual show. What's cool about it is like the day before we went to break for the Martin Luther King holiday, I was like, "What books do you want?" And so I got a huge list, and now I could buy them without having to spend my own money. Love that. Anyways, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode 3 of Babbling, Blabbing about Boba. As always, I am here, joined with my by my two good friends. On my left, my right, your left, whatever. Paul and
Stage
the
left.
Nev. Yes, stage left is Paul, who's got an inappropriate picture in the background.
That's this is the Major Domo's the back of his head.
Where has that finger been is a better question.
This is the back of the mayor's of the mayor's Major Domo's head. Okay? There's nothing wrong with this picture being right behind me.
Yes. It does. The Twi'lek's backside does look like a buttocks.
What are you talking about?
The head tails.
That's the back of their Leku.
The back of the Leku looks like butt cheeks.
And he's wearing clothes. You know, he's wearing clothes on it.
Those are the booty short equivalent of a hat for.
There's nothing wrong with the Leku on either side.
Do you think it takes him time to get that on in the morning? Like,
of course.
Like, that's got to be very stretchy material, or it's got to have a clasp somewhere in the back, because, I mean, that'd be a challenge to get on.
It's like a shirt.
Yeah, but like how flexible are the Leku? That's the real question.
They're probably very flexible.
I would think so too. They would have to be. They would absolutely have to be.
All right, let me go tell the channel, our server that we're on with you.
All right. So, Nev, how are you?
Yeah. I'm good.
I've got to say, man, every time I love the new studio. I think it looks amazing.
This is only the bit behind me. I haven't done anything on that side yet, but I'm about three quarters. I'm about half the way through those Magic the Gathering cards. As soon as that table is done, I'll have access to that area. I can start clearing it out and figuring out how the hell I'm going to put up a green screen.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. I think I may be taking these guys down and putting them in the shelf behind me. I've been meaning to do that for a while. I got myself a mini fridge, which I'm excited for. So
as long as on Friday you've got a full green screen in back of you.
I will have a full green screen encompassing me somehow.
Okay.
I do have a green suit, a green bodysuit that I could wear.
That would not work.
Are you sure? Because
sure.
Then I could like have a, I don't know, we could animate it somehow. Anyways, today, gentlemen, how are you?
I'm good.
You're good. Excellent.
Mother's in town from the from Toledo.
Oh.
And getting ready to go see Elton John on Friday. Should be a fun time.
Very nice. Very nice.
Went to the hibachi today.
Ooh, I was like, I enjoy good hibachi. I gotta say, one thing I do miss about Texas, about Houston specifically, there are a great number of Chinese restaurants that I just don't have where I'm at here. It saddens me. And especially buffets. I love buffets. They're just not respected where I'm from. It's very sad. It's a very, very sad thing.
Okay. Joe Run DMV is asking what my background is. This background is the back of the head of the mayor's major domo. I just, I decided I'm going to ride in the back of the car with the major domo,
which makes sense, right? Which makes sense. So let's go ahead and get into it, because last week we went 30 minutes over, which I thought was, I didn't have any problem with it, right? I wasn't going anywhere. I was home, but
But it was also a longer episode.
It was a longer episode. This week we only got 38 minutes, and that's with like the flashbacks, not the flashbacks, the part in the very beginning, the recap, and the credits. And credits on a Disney Plus show, because it's international, they're ridiculous. I mean, mad props. I don't want to cut anyone out, but holy crap. Give me 38 minutes of actual show. Right? That's what I want. Now, today's episode, Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, or as we are calling it, the Book of Boba Fett and the Magic Street Gangs, a.k.a. Boba gets a new Rancor. Boba meets... What do we call that one? Moochie?
Boba and the sensual Wookiee massage.
Boba and the sensual Wookiee massage. That did not have a very happy ending for... Well, I guess it kind of did for Black Chrysanthemum, but we'll get to that in a bit. We start off this episode with Matt Berry. I gotta say, I love that droid, right? 8B8, right? His droid.
8D8. So if you say it really quick, 88.
88. Oh, that makes sense. 88. I'm loving that droid. So he starts off, and what's interesting about this, there were a lot of little moments, I felt like, that they could potentially have hinted at bigger things, right? Now, we start off with 8D8 saying, I'm not going to mention the name of he who must not be named, being Jabba the Hutt, because he didn't want...
Oh, I thought it was Voldemort.
No. Although they do look eerily similar. Pale, wrinkly skin.
No nose,
very slug-like. Yeah. So he's like, hey, this is interesting. I don't want to offend you. And he's like, why? He's like, because, I would offend you. Right? But what's interesting here is he starts off and he's like, look, this is how Mos Espa is broken up currently, right? It's divided into 3 parts. Okay. We've got the Trandoshan family runs one part of the group. We have, what he would have been running, right? His territory would have been another part. And then we have a third. I forget what, now that I'm thinking about it, I forget what they were called. It was the Trandoshans. It wasn't the Pikes. It was, the biker gang. Not to be confused with the street gang of ruffians that weren't super ruffians. Right? I mean, I didn't feel...
See, they're the mods. They're the mods to the biker gang rockers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quadrophenia reference there.
Oh, okay. You'll have to explain that when we get to it. But they're breaking it down, and then we get this moment where we have Dale from King of the Hill shows up and is like, I want my water and my stapler.
Come on. It was Milton from Office Space.
Milton from Office Space is like, all right, I've got some street gangs and they've taken my stapler. And,
exactly.
And I'm very upset for you. I'm offended for you, Boba Fett, because no one respects you. Right? No one likes you, Boba Fett. And this is a sad thing. And I'm offended for you because under, what's his face, Chubby McTwochins, the last Moj. I almost called him the Mojahid. Well, the last major domo, right? Everything was at least working nicely, right? He wasn't Buck from King of the Hill, Adam. Oh, now we got to go to King of the Hill. I'm pretty sure it was Dale. Anyways, Stapler King, right? That's the important. He comes and he's like, look, my stapler is missing. I need Bill Dutrieve was his name. My apologies. Not Dale, Bill. Dale is a different character altogether. So he says these people need to be fixed, right? But again, I think one of the major parts that they're talking about this is when he walks in.
And he was Buck Strickland, by the way.
Oh, was he really?
Yep.
Oh, all right. All right. So when Stephen Root walks in, he's like, look, he says, this was Tatooine before, right? He started giving a backstory of, like, the water, right? I found that interesting because as I'm watching these videos on YouTube, as I'm, like, seeing other people, like, talk about what's going on and, like, having their own breakdowns, one of the things that keeps coming up is the history of Tatooine, right? Tatooine was a planet that was filled with water at one point until the Rakata came in and just destroyed everything, right? Now, when the Rakata came in, like, that was around, or that was, like, part of the whole thing with the old Republic, right? And so it makes me wonder, like, as I'm watching this, I'm seeing these little hints of the history of Tatooine, who the Tuskens were, they keep talking about the ancestral land, the Tuskens have rightful claim, right? It just felt, I feel like there's more to Tatooine than we've seen in the rest of the universe. And I think that's being brought in here, right? Or at least hinted at. I mean, yeah. Could this be a layer, or am I just digging too deep?
I mean, I think maybe you're going a little deep into it more than it needs, but, we also saw a bunch of cameos in this episode that,
yeah,
just like the last episode.
Yeah, there were quite a few of quite a few cameos. It was kind of crazy. But then the water farmer comes. He's like, you need to do this. If you do it, I'll double my my tribute to you. Enter part 2 of the episode, right? And I've broken it down into 6 different parts. Okay, part 2. The first 2 parts take place almost entirely before the credits. This is where Boba Fett hires a bunch of, like, I don't want to call them scruffy looking nerf herders, but he hires the Power Rangers, right? Or he hires the Back to the Future gang. He hires, I don't know, like these really interesting, odd characters, right? These are the hooligans that have been stealing from the water farmer. I gotta say, this water farmer has to be a giant wuss if he can't stand up to these guys. I was not really intimidated at all.
They're cybernetically enhanced, though.
Doesn't matter. He's an old crotchety man. He should have been able to be like, get off my lawn, kind of a thing. Get out of my store, you ruffians. I feel, I don't know, like, I wasn't super intimidated. Even when we see him in action, and they step it up pretty quickly. They do. But, I don't know, maybe it's the shiny colors? I don't know. Did that bother anybody else?
We'll get to the shiny colors.
No, but we see the shiny colors starting off in their outfits, right?
That is true. They do look cleaner.
Yeah. Right. I mean, maybe they're just
quite a feat for someone living on a desert planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody else is perfectly clean.
But them. They're very clean, right? Now, granted,
must have something to do with all that water they've been stealing.
Probably.
You know?
They've been washing it. They've been using it to take a bath.
Yeah, taking a bath. But here's the thing that struck out to me when he meets these kids, right? First off, they're living in the workers' district and they don't have work, right? The young lady, right?
Which one? The one with the speaking role?
Yes.
There's two of them, remember?
Are there two of them? There's a
you've
few.
You've got white chick, white dude, black dude, and then a chick. I can't tell if she's I can't tell.
Yeah.
If she's Latina or if she's because she's only in the shots for very short glimpses.
Yeah.
But she does have dark. I mean, she from what I can recall, she did have dark hair.
So
long dark hair.
So the two major speaking roles is the girl Drash, it's Sophie Thatcher, and Jordan Bolger Scad. Great names. Very, I don't know, underworld.
Pretty sure the black dude's British actor actually. I'm sure I've seen. I'm sure he's been in like. He's good. He's
in Peaky Blinders. He's in iBoy.
Yeah. He's been. He's got some good acting chops.
Yeah, he does
under his belt.
Actually,
for someone as young as he is.
In the shot when Fennec says, "Do you want to work or not?" There's 7 people.
Yeah, it's a pretty decently sized crew. I've just got to say, the only thing as far as the crew that really kind of irked me, like as far as the look, you've got that one guy who looks like he's wearing a suit and is about to go to church. I mean, like he's wearing a longer suit. He was in Peaky Blinders, Jordan Bolger. But the way that his shirt underneath looks, it almost looks like he's wearing a tie. And it feels very formal for Tatooine, right?
Yeah, but that's what these crazy kids are wearing in Hell Valley in 2015.
Is it? I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, we don't see anyone really else, but
we don't see anybody else wearing those clothes at all.
Yeah. So you know that they've got to have money or something, because why? Why else would they wear that stuff? Anyways, regardless of all of that, right? There were a few things that stood out to me in this part of the scene. One, that water farmer is not to be trusted, right? Also, you're not going to bring in Stephen Root as a water farmer just for the sake of being that. You're not going to give him a speaking role and then throw him away. We're going to see him again. I really feel that. Now, having said that, it was in his eyes, the shiftiness in his eyes when Boba's like, hey, lower your prices, give him 500 credits, and, that's good. But here's the thing. I think a lot of people are missing the purpose of what Boba's trying to do here, right? I've seen a lot of people hate on this part. I've seen a lot of people really dislike this episode. Not to say that there's not reason for it, but for this, he's giving them a job. His goal is to dominate Mos Espa, right? That's to be the major domo of Tatooine, right? Mos Espa is going to be his city. And if he can't clean up his city, no one will respect him. If he can't control the city that he lives in personally, no one will respect him. Having said that, you also have him, I just feel like this is what his goal, right? I think we see him finally tell us what he's trying to do, right? He wants an orderly, clean city. Yes, he's a crime lord, but he's going to run it the best way that he can. It needs to be orderly. And under his time, it needs to be efficient. And I think that's what he's starting to do here. Right? And that's like the first 7 minutes of the episode. That's not even like that long. But like, I just really felt that when I first watched it, I was like, it feels off. It's just weird that he just offers them a job and they're like, all right, fine, we'll take a job. But again, these are people who are stealing to make ends meet. They're trying to, survive. Why not work for the crime lord who's friggin' Boba Fett? Right? It felt like, as I've thought about it, as I've like dove into it, I really felt that it was right. It felt better the more I thought about it. But did anyone catch the swear word? As Boba,
there was a dank ferric in there.
No. There was a dank ferric, but dank. Okay, dank has to be a swear word, right? So dank and ferric together are swear words. I think that's a 2-part swear word. I think dank, because he's like when he tells her, he's like, you've got.
Does ferric mean mother?
It must. I don't know. But when he's talking to Skaggs or whatever, Drash, right? When he's talking to the girl, he's like, man, you've got some balls on you. I respect that. But then he calls her dank, right? I think I can't tell what it is yet, but I love that they're using their own slang more and more. There's nothing that appeals to me more when a world is built so well that they have their own swears. Right? I think that's wonderful. Right? Then we go post credits. Post intro, we get presumably our last flashback with the Tuskens. I don't know. Do you think any of them survived?
I want to hope some did.
I same here. Like, I want to see a Tusken show up. Like in modern time, right? I think that would be dope. I want to see Ninja Tusken Lady ride up into Mos Espa, and with an army of other Tuskens.
She's dead.
To take on the Pikes. Is she dead? Was her body one that was...
She's dead. Yeah.
Because the chief was dead. We know the chief was dead. We saw him.
So is she.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't look too closely at that part. But, opening flashback, he walks in to Tatooine, and this is where we get our first flashback within the flashback. Right? Or our first connection within the flashback. So as Boba is walking in riding in on his banta, right? He passes a series of spikes, and those spikes have helmets on them, right? Now, this I think is the same shot from the Book of Boba, the Mandalorian, where the Mandalorian walks in to a scene and he sees he sees a similar scene where helmets are on spikes.
But right? Then you also see Peli, by the way.
Yes. After, or in that same moment, in the very back, you see Peli.
Peli and the Pit Droids.
Yeah, Peli and the Pit Droids, just kind of like...
My favorite band since Huey Lewis and the News.
Well, they are talented. Right now, they're just local to Mos Espa, but one day I think they could break out into the galaxy.
Yeah,
galaxy proper. But I thought that was so cool. Like I was paying special attention. I was like, this is awesome. He walks up. He talks to the Pikes. The Pikes tell him, hey, look, this motorcycle gang who is Peli? So, Paul, who's Peli?
Peli, I don't remember who She was the mechanic on Tatooine that took care of Grogu while Din Djarin made his way around Tatooine cleaning up.
Yeah. So if you remember,
she's the one who tried to fix the Razor Crest.
Yeah. This is yeah, she's the one that tries to fix the Razor Crest. She's the one that forms the bond with Baby Yoda. And she's the one who's there when Mando goes after Fennec Shand. Right? When he's taking the puck on Fennec. Right? So I think that this episode, or at least that flashback, takes place shortly before the events in season 1 of Mando?
No, it doesn't.
You don't think so?
That's years. This is years apart.
Really?
Yeah, these are years apart. Remember, this is just after he escapes the Sarlacc, that was
the second Death Star was destroyed, and we got the special edition. Sorry, it's not the Return of the Jedi. It's Return of the Jedi special edition. When the Death Star blows up, we see the celebrations going on all over the galaxy. That happened within days of Jabba's sail barge blowing up. We can assume safely that Boba Fett was probably with the Tuskens for a few months.
Yeah.
It's the season 1 of The Mandalorian was 5 years afterwards. He's strolling into Mos Eisley. He's strolling into Mos Eisley on his Bantha a few months after the fall of the Empire.
All right. I think that there's a little more flexibility between the timeline, but you're probably right. I'll concede that. But as they go through, they're doing their thing. This Pike is like, look, we're okay with paying a tribute, right, for protection. But what we're not okay with is paying it to 2 different people. And this is where we get the point that, hey, this biker gang is out there. They're that same group that, you supposedly took the bikes from, and so on and so forth, right? Fix that, and we're good. So he fixes it. He leaves he tells them, he's like, all right, tell your bosses it's not a deal. It's not a problem. I'll fix it, and I'll be on my way. We'll move forward, right? That's when he goes and he returns home to a smoldering pile of Tuskens with, on the back, on the outside, the symbol, the KK. Joe Leeper, thank you for the donation, my friend. That's when we get that moment where it's like he sees his family, his adopted family, murdered and dead. Right? I gotta say, like, I'm interested in this because this is the second time he's had family kind of die. Actually, I mean, personally, he's had a lot of people die. Right? He had
all of his genetic brothers, all of his Clone Wars.
All of the clones. Right? He's had his bounty hunter crew. He's had different people pass away. He had Aurra Sing. Right? I think there's a lot of potential that Boba is dealing with a lot of death, but not as a bounty hunter, but as a person. Right?
What you thinking over there, Neil?
Yeah. You're awfully quiet.
What about I just don't get it. I don't get any of
the
it.
The flashback?
All right, none of it to me, none of it makes sense. He says he's a crime boss. He's not. None of his actions say I'm a crime boss. Okay? They throw in this gang of kids, right? That that without firearms are somehow able to steal from a guy with a lot of money.
They do have firearms. They do have firearms.
Because I don't see them use firearms.
They do. There are a couple of times.
When did they fire? When there were any blaster fire? When was there any blaster fire?
When they were fighting against Black Chrysanthemum. Scad.
I'm talking about the chase scene.
Oh, the chase scene. No, they're not. Because I think
he's getting away. Bang.
Well, they don't want to kill him. They want to get information from him. If you kill him, you can't get information from him.
So it's like I want to rule with respect, not through fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fennec Shand said it himself. Fennec Shand actually said it to you should be making an example of some people.
Yeah.
That he still hasn't done that. So I'm trying, and I really thought that the Tusken storyline, I thought that had been tied off quite nicely with the way that that wonderful bonding scene where it's like dance. a bit like the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. We're now a part of the tribe. That scene around the fire, it was a really, really good. I was like, oh, this is such an awesome way to tie off this.
If the Empire went down to the forest moon of Endor and took out all the Ewoks, you'd have to show the closure of, Luke and Leia coming back to see the Ewoks have all been slaughtered. So you still needed closure in that sense. Yeah, it was great. It would be great in our minds if the Tuskens lived forever and Boba, was an honorary Tusken tier.
Yeah.
But
they don't.
But
I just didn't think that there needed to be anything beyond that point. I think that would have been a nice place to tie it off, and then Boba goes off and does his thing.
Well, now that this has happened from the Nal Huttese K gang or whatever the heck they are, we're going to see that Boba's not going to take any prisoners this time.
No.
And I believe we're finally going to see the killing side of Boba after we found out that the Nal Huttese K gang have all.
So
well, that's the storyline where Boba is a badass.
And he's
two
still
Boba
is.
Fetts.
Yeah.
We keep seeing
After
two different Boba Fetts, right? The one in the past with the Tusken, that's Tusken story. That's where he's that's where he's being badass. A short few weeks after, his skin suffers irreparable damage as a result of being digested by the Sarlacc, he's still badass Boba. In that, come forward to crime boss Boba. He's not a crime boss. He can call himself a crime boss all he likes. He's not acting like one. He's not behaving like one.
He's not.
It's like, when are we gonna, please, can we get into it? Can we please get into it? It's 3 episodes and we still haven't got into anything with real teeth regarding Boba in the present.
So
I'm liking what I'm seeing of Boba in the past, loving that. I'm just not. I just don't get this Boba in the present when we know how mean and badass he can be because we saw him in The Mandalorian.
So
the whole reason why he got the Book of Boba spin-off was because we saw him in The Mandalorian and thought, oh my God, please give us Boba on his own. And it's like, yep. And they've taken all of those brilliant, awesome scenes of Boba and how he was in The Mandalorian and have thought, let's not put any of that in this Boba TV series, but we'll show glimpses of it in the flashbacks. That's what's annoying me. I have high expectations of what I expect to see from Boba Fett in his own show, based 100% off what was given to us in The Mandalorian, right? And they ain't delivering. They're not delivering, you know? So we got spoiled with, obviously, we were very spoiled with Mandalorian season 2 because it was a cracking season and Boba was great in it. I mean, I don't think any of us are going to dispute the fact that The Mandalorian season 2 was a cracking season with a great beginning, great middle, great end. It was awesome. Boba was great in that. I think he was very, very good in that. I wanted to see more of that in this show, and at the moment, I just ain't seeing it.
Yeah. So that's actually a really good segue, because here's the thing. Let's see, where was it? Jorge in the chat says that, he's like, this was written by Story Group Ideologues. Now, I don't believe that it was. I do think that he says it's subverting expectations. I think that is partially true, but I think it's the concept of the full story. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni do a great job at building a story. They don't do a great job, in my mind, of putting the story out piecemeal, right? Like, if
they need a movie.
They do. They do. That's the thing. Like, if you go back and you look at Star Wars Rebels, episode by episode, it was a little frustrating. There were moments that were like, come on, man, what's going on? But then if you go back and you watch it all the way through, and you see everything that was being built towards, you're like, oh man, that's awesome.
Look at the Clone Wars season 7.
Exactly. I think that's what's happening, is they're building towards something. Now, Ming-Na Wen said, and this is total hearsay because I have no idea where the source came from. I've been watching interviews of her all day and I cannot find this source. But she said that episode 4 is where it starts to turn. Now, if that's the case, episode 4 is going to begin our rise to that climax in the story part, right? What they're going to do is if episode 4 is where it turns and we start getting a lot more action, that means episode 1 and 2 with parts of episode 3 were our intro, right? Then our second act then starts with probably like, I don't know, the attack from Black Chrysanthemum, and then ends with episode 3, and probably the third act, the final act of season 1, will begin in episode 5, maybe even episode 6, but we do know that 6 and 7 are kind of one leading to another, right? Now, having said that, what Nev is pointing out is that there are some legitimate issues. Now, I want to play a clip. This is a clip from the man himself, and he's going to talk about his reaction, his thoughts, like what was going on in his mind.
Oh yeah, I've watched this. Yeah,
about the dialogue and how everything's going on. So like, we'll play this and then we'll talk.
Hoping not to say as much as I have already in the. I was hoping not to say as much as I have already in the first 2 episodes. I speak far too much. In fact, in the beginning, I was trying to get past my lines on to Ming-Na.
Yes,
and I always say, excuse me, director, I really feel that Ming-Na should say these lines because I want to stay mysterious. Right. I want to stay quiet.
But then I caught on. He wasn't just trying to be a very generous actor, which he is. He was just trying to parlay some of the work to me.
Yes.
Sharing his responsibility.
So yeah, but and even when, because obviously John's one of the key writers. So and so sometimes I'd always say, I think this is too much. I think this is too much. Then I'd go to, what was the other guy's name? Noah. I'd try and get.
Oh, Noah, yes, Noah Noor. Mm-hmm.
I remember, of course, John actually went away to Atlanta, so I rang Noah that night and I said, Noah, the scene tomorrow, I'm talking too much. This Boba doesn't talk this much. Look, I've got all these paragraphs here. I think we should get rid of it. And John's gone to Atlanta, so don't tell him. And then next minute, next minute that morning on set, I get a call from Atlanta. John wants you to say all that dialogue.
Yeah. So here we have this moment. He's like, look, this is even Tamora is like, look, this is not the way that I think a lot of people are ready for Boba Fett. Right? He talks too much. Right? And like I went back and I watched it a second time. I don't think that he talks a ton, but in comparison to what we saw in episode 5, like he had like 7 lines in that. But I mean that was only 5 minutes of
no disintegrations.
Yeah, right. No disintegrations. I think
as you wish.
Right. I think
and that's when we realized that Wesley was Boba Fett.
Indeed, right. The thing that I'm thinking though is it's hard to do an entire show around a character like that if there isn't conversation, right? And I think Ming-Na, Fennec is doing a great job at. This is gonna sound wrong, but running her mouth.
Excuse me, but Terminator was an awesome movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger said bugger all in that movie.
No, I agree.
I'll be back.
But the movie wasn't about him. He was just the bad guy. He was just the force in the not even in the shadow in the foreground, doing all the things, doing all the action, right? Giving character and storyline to Boba, who for people who haven't read the comics, who haven't played, who aren't familiar with who Boba is, this is going to be a challenge because he can't just create Boba Fett or the Book of Boba for modern fans. They have to bring in others, which means they have to bring in a reason, and they've got to make an audience like him.
And they have to sort all their side characters into individual Hogwarts houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boba, I don't know if so. Paul, you said that Boba would be in Gryffindor. I'm thinking Hufflepuff.
Definitely
Gryffindor. I'm thinking Hufflepuff.
At this point, I'm feeling Hufflepuff.
The way he's been portrayed, yeah, he's definitely a Flufflepuff.
He ain't no Slytherin, and
no, he's not a Slytherin. See, I disagree with that. I don't think that he should be Slytherin. I think that he should be a Weasley twins-esque bounty hunter or Gryffindor without the humor, right? Without the lightheartedness. Fennec, absolutely a Ravenclaw, right?
Yeah, Fennec's definitely a Ravenclaw. I think we can all
agree with that because
Black Chrysanthemum is the Slytherin.
I would agree with that.
Fennec Shand is Slytherin.
Yeah, I don't know if she is.
She pushed a dude off the top of a building to prove a point to the guy that she was holding the gun at. It's like, I will kill you at any time if I don't get what I want.
I think that absolutely a Ravenclaw would do that as well. Right?
Only the Slytherins are the nasty ones. The Ravenclaw, the Gryffindor, and the Hufflepuff, they're all nice.
I think that depends on the literature you've read. I think... So I've read some fan fiction out there.
Let's get off the Harry Potter analogies.
All right, moving on. So we haven't even talked about the fight scene where Boba fights in his undies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, so first off, like one of my favorite shows outside of Star Wars is the Venture Brothers. There's a scene in the Venture Brothers where you've got this bodyguard who's going around killing people while he's naked, right? And the guy that he's protecting, he's like, why are you killing people while you're naked? And he's like, it's psychological warfare. They don't expect you to come at them naked. And they wouldn't. Boba Fett, considering all things that he was just woken up out of a sleep, back to tank sleep, considering that he was just asleep and now he's still in his underwear, I think did amazing in self-defense.
I mean, he's also slippery.
Yeah.
And he was able to stand up.
Yeah. I mean, think about how
he's no Jason Statham though.
No. Well, I mean, Jason Statham in his prime, maybe back when Boba was in his prime. Now, this is like Jason Statham between movies when he's like drinking a ton and not exercising and like eating just loaves and loaves of bread, you know?
Dad bod Boba.
Yes, Dad bod Boba, right? He's got to get back in shape. Now, I thought it was really impressive that he was fighting Black Chrysanthemum and he was holding his own. Now,
I think he's definitely going to be asking for a refund on his ring security system.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would be really pissed off if I woke up to a Wookiee trying to murder me. For the two,
I want to know why. You know, I'm going back and I'm watching the Chrysanthemum Fett fight right now. I want to know why he needs a belt for his underwear.
Chrysanthemum?
No.
Or Boba?
Boba.
Hey, when you're a dad, sometimes you just need a little extra support, right? Or you want to like make sure it gets tucked in, right? So
Disney knows that there's going to be 24 people on YouTube that make Easter egg videos. You know, the one guy will be like, here's 55 Easter eggs from this episode of Boba Fett. And another person will be like, here's 47 Easter eggs. And another person will be like, here's 33. And it's like, you know, it'll have some obscure meaning, but Disney's like, hey, you know, we need to put these things in so that the YouTubers make videos about all these tiny meaningless things that we put in the movies and that we put in the TV shows that have nothing to do whatsoever with the narrative of the story.
So, Salman Grundy, Luke in Bacta Tank, he points out, he says, doesn't Luke have a belt when he was in the Bacta Tank? And he sure enough did. Luke had a diaper while he was in the Bacta Tank. Very possible that it just makes it so the Bacta stays.
You can, go number one and go number two.
Yeah.
Without it mixing in the Bacta, because that'd be kind of important.
Yeah.
To not go number one and number two in the Bacta tank. I think that would be very, very important.
Yeah. So here's my thing. I did a bunch of research into a few different background as to one, why Black Chrysanthemum didn't have his gun. Two, how he got into Boba's chamber. And three, why he ran away when Boba's like, all right, just let him go. Okay. One, why he didn't have the gun. Okay. The theory, the modern internet theory is that he scaled the wall. Right? He scaled the outside of the wall.
But he has a sling on that.
That's what slings are for.
I agree.
Don't posit a theory.
He's got a sling.
Whoever's posited that theory is just
but
pulling
that's
conspiracy theories out of their behind.
Part of it. The other reason is that he
had to John McClane his way.
Yeah, he was in the air ducts. Yeah, but two, the thing is like Black Chrysanthemum. He spent a ton of time with Jabba's palace, right? And so he would have known the ins and outs of it, right?
That is true.
And so he would have been able to get in and out undetected. Now, it's possible that the people that sent him, the twins, were like, hey, look, he just hired a bunch of like teenagers to defend him, and we don't want to kill the teenagers for some reason. So if you're going to kill Boba, do it quietly. Also, this goes back to the fact that he was a gladiator. Black Chrysanthemum doesn't want to kill someone with a gun. He wants to rip them apart. Right? And so, like, the idea behind this is, like, I think it was a quiet kill, potentially out of, like he's honor bound. Like, I want to kill this dude quietly but quickly, and I want to murder him with my bare hands. Not to be confused with Wookiee hands, because bare hands and Wookiee hands. And, okay, it's a bad joke. I'm moving on. Oh crap! Now I can't think of where I was going. So that's one reason why he may not have had the gun. Okay, 2. Right? Why did he run away so quickly? Right? In one of the comics, right, when Boba Fett has lost the body of Han Solo, Han or Leia and Lando and Chewie are all looking for Han. They're going to bid for him, or they're going to kind of like steal him or something. And there's a moment where Chewbacca and Boba Fett get into a fist fight because they can't use guns. Because if they use guns, they'll give away their location. Boba Fett sets Chewbacca on fire. It's possible that Chrysanthemum was aware that Boba Fett has a flamethrower, right? and
well, I mean, that's what he reached for.
Yeah, and
when he got out of the tank,
exactly, and he's a Wookiee made out of very flammable material, and so when he ran away, because he did run, and we'll come talk about this in a second. He did run. It was because he didn't want to become a Wookiee torch. Right? Like he didn't want to be a flaming carpet bag. Right? Other thing? I had a third thing. So, the gun, the house. All right, so he wakes him up and the gang comes.
Gives him a sensual massage.
He gives him a sensual massage, right? It's not a happy ending immediately. The happy ending comes eventually when BK leaves. He's freed. But we get this we get this fight scene, and I thought it was awesome, to be honest. One of the things
tackling both Gamorrean guards down the stairs with a double clothesline.
So speaking of that, like this I don't know, like I want to see more of this, but you see some incredible loyalty from the bikers, or I don't even want to call them bikers, the scooter gang, right?
The cybernetic Hogwarts crew,
the mods,
the Hogwartians. Anyways, like the teenagers, like you see some incredible loyalty towards the teenagers. You also see incredible loyalty with the Gamorreans. Like I think part of what we're seeing is Boba building that I don't know, love is the wrong word, but he's building that loyalty, that brand loyalty, because like people already fear him. He's still
starting
Boba
to assemble
Fett.
His crew.
That's what this is.
I remember, a certain group of internet reviewers not liking a crew that was assembled by Din Djarin.
Yeah. I don't know who those were. Was that us?
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways.
God, thank God I don't have to see her again.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is. That's what he's doing, I think. But it's over a longer stint of time, right? We haven't seen the end of Chrysanthemum at all.
No.
At all.
I hope not.
I mean, it was awesome seeing him, but...
once again, I tried to get as much as I could backstory to remind myself.
Yeah.
In one simple book.
Yeah. Simple is an interesting word for it. But again, like the idea is, I think he's building his brand loyalty. We see the brand with the Tuskens. We see it with now these bikers. We see it with bounty hunters that have been part of it. I think we'll see it with Chrysanthemum, and we'll see it with others. I think in the next episode we're gonna see the not the Pikes, but the Trandoshans coming in as well. SD, just for your comment, if you do want to see Chewbacca versus Black Chrysanthemum, you got to check out the comic books because it's there and it is a cool fight scene. Is it the Dr. Aphra comics or is it just the straight Star Wars?
I believe that one's straight Star Wars.
Yeah. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. But
and we may see it again in Han and Chewie.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true.
Which comes out in 2 months.
Yeah. Cool thing. So the fight scene lands Chrysanthemum in the Rancor pit, which I thought was awesome. I would have loved if Chrysanthemum would have stayed in the Rancor pit and been the new Rancor of sorts.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen Chrysanthemum jump up and climb back out.
I was kind of thinking he was going to, or use that little knife that Finnick threw at him to like throw back and like hit somebody. I thought that would have been awesome, but I don't know. Like, I think, anyways. So we get this moment. The twins show up and they're like, "Look, our bad. We shouldn't have sent the Wookiee." I mean, do you believe the twins? Do you think that they are going to... So, I don't know. Like, as I'm sitting there, like, I'm listening to this, Boba says, do you believe him, right? Because the twins, they give him all this information. They're like, hey, you know, there's a new syndicate here. There's someone else running. There's some big baddie in power. We don't want anything to do with that person. So we don't want a war. And Boba Fett looks at Finnick and he's like, I don't trust him. And he says it would benefit them, their enemies, if they were fighting each other, right? So what's the real reason, right? What's the real reason the twins are leaving Tatooine, right? So either it is a trap and the twins are, you know, doing something else, right? They're like, we don't want a war. I mean, we know that the Hutt cartel has taken some hits lately, but I mean, it's either a trap or there really is some big bad out there, like really big bad. And
it's not that there's here's the thing. Before the fall of the Empire, it was organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what the underworld was. It was organized crime. Okay? The Empire knew of its existence and tolerated it because that's just the way that they did. That's the way they did things.
Okay.
Now, it's not that it's disorganized crime. It's just that, you know, that they had rules and they had a way of doing things because the Empire, the government was there.
Yeah.
So they knew what they had to do. They know who they had to bribe. They knew whose fingers had to be greased. They knew who had to get the brown envelopes. None of that happens anymore. So, you know, all that the percentages are a lot higher. So anybody can do it for any reason whatsoever, and there's no protection from, you know, a government. Because let's be, you know, think about this rationally, think about this logically. The Hutts would have been paying off the Empire, you know, governors, you know, administrators, all of that would have been getting paid off. That's why it would have been organized crime. Now it just seems to be all over the place.
And
I don't think it's one big bad. I think it's lots of big bads, and the Hutts just don't want to get involved in it, you know?
And that could be it. I think that's part of it, because they have said that this show is meant to focus on the underworld, and so far we've seen a number of different syndicates show up. We've seen the Pikes, we've seen we know the Trandoshans are there, right? I think we'll see more of them in the next episode. We've obviously seen the Hutts. We've been introduced to Nal Hutta, which, I mean, if anyone who's played the games or anyone who's read the comics, you know Nal Hutta is like their planet, it's their place. It's the space Vegas, but like the scummier side of Vegas. You know, it's like
Fallout New Mos Espa.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Fallout Fremont Street, you know, in Vegas. Like, it's the nasty, right? Nothing against Fremont Street if you like it, but it's not the classier Vegas, which I'm gonna stop before I alienate anyone from Nevada. But anyways, damn it, where was I? Oh, so we have seen the underworld. We've seen this, and so I think, Nev, you have a very legitimate point. People in the comments have been talking about Ahsoka. I think that's leading towards. I think this is one series that's leading towards that. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're anywhere close to getting an Ahsoka tie-in. I think we're more likely to get the Boba Fett tie-in or the Mando tie-in, but not Ahsoka. Now, having said that, I have got to say, the big twist for me, the thing that I was so happy to see in this episode, was Danny Trejo. When he...
It wouldn't be a Robert Rodriguez
it wouldn't.
Without Danny Trejo.
Space Machete. I was watching it, I was like, that looks like Danny. Oh my gosh, that's Danny Trejo. Like, and what's he doing? He's the Rancor Wrangler. Oh, I mean, that is like the perfect job for Danny Trejo in this. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so cool seeing him. We get introduced to Moochie, the depressed Rancor who needs a Zoloft, or I don't know, like a lot of Zoloft because he's sad, right? I gotta say that there was that moment between Boba Fett and the Rancor. I thought it was kind of cool. You know, I thought it was kind of neat seeing them like bond a little bit, but then like
a bantha,
right? And like he says, he's like, "Hey, I've ridden bigger, right? I'm curious to know what that is, right? Has he ridden the Slug? Has he ridden Jabba? I mean, I don't know, but one, I love the idea of Danny Trejo being at least a repeating side character in this. Kind of like the Pele or the Peely of the Book of Boba. But instead of taking care of Baby Yoda, he's taking care of Baby Moochie or Baby Rancor. But Joe, Run DMV points out, he's like, look, he's during this, he brought up the Night Sisters.
No, he didn't bring up the Night Sisters.
He did.
No, he didn't. He brought up the witches of Dathomir.
All right. Okay. And just quickly, rest in peace, Dave Wolverton. Yes. So yes, the witches of Dathomir are different than the Night Sisters. The Night Sisters are a faction of the witches of Dathomir, but just the fact that they're bringing it up in live action,
the fact that they brought up the witches of
Dathomir, like
that was a good point for me. That was kind of nice. That
I mean, we already did have
kind of sucked that their creator passed away like really soon after that episode. I hope to God he got to watch that episode.
Did he? Is that the creator?
I hope he.
Yeah.
Dave Wolverton created. He was the writer of the book, The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Yeah.
The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Introduced.
Han wins the planet Dathomir in a Sabacc card game.
Of course he did.
And he's going to, because he thinks that he needs a boatload of money in order to, to win the hand of Leia. So he gets involved in a extremely high roller card game, Sabacc game, and he wins the planet. He just doesn't realize that, it's populated by witches that ride Rancors.
And at the same time, the whole Cal Kestis situation is canon.
Yeah.
So we do already have the Witches of Dathomir and the Brothers of was it Brothers of Dathomir as well?
I think it was just the Knight brothers.
Yeah, just the Knight brothers.
Yeah.
In canon.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, visual
live action
canon. Yes.
Like it was a whole new egg to
world?
open. Yeah. Just world. Yeah. Like it was awesome. I thought it was so cool seeing that connection. One of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars is Asajj Ventress, and her storyline and everything about Asajj is just amazing and tragic and wonderful. But she is Dathomirian, and how cool would it be if they just brought her up somehow? Like, Boba worked with her, but he didn't know that she was Asajj at the time, and so we'll see. I don't think they will, but I love the Dathomirians. I love that they brought it up because, again, it's one of those things that it's like, this is world building, right? Just like that throwaway line with the water merchant. He's like, well, Tatooine wasn't always. There used to be oceans. And he's like, all right, shut up, right? Like, I love that they're doing stuff like that because it feels kind of like this insignificant line, but it's so much more, right? I loved it. Also, I've got to point out that in Mando, Ahsoka says, not many of us left. Could mean Cal Kestis. Yeah, Asajj is dead. I'm just reading ST's comment. But in Mando, the Morgan Elsbeth is a Dathomirian, right? We don't know if she is a Night Sister per se, but she is a Dathomirian. She's got the markings. She's got all the crests and stuff. So I think it's very possible that we could see that more of that connection. And I look forward to the day, to the episode, when Boba rides little Rancor, little Tonto, whatever they're going to call him. I look forward to hearing the name. But
what you got, Neil?
What you got, Neil?
Okay. Story
time with Neil.
What was it? Congratulations, General Solo. The Kalumi said it in a clip tone. I regret this game has become too expensive. You are very rich. Too rich. You may not like it. You may not make it out of the under. I'll take my chances. And there we go. What was it? If I win, I will own both the planet and the credits. And Han wins.
And Han wins.
And Han wins. But he's in an underworld. It's yours, and it's called Dathomir. And yeah, it's the courtship of Princess Leia. Page 46 to 49. It's the card game goes on for quite a while, actually. Yeah. But
kind of like Casino Royale and the game of Baccarat.
Basically, he wins the credits and the planet, and yeah, he wins the planet.
Yeah. So this was I loved this though. I thought this was awesome. I thought that I loved seeing how excited he was to get a Rancor. There was just so much about this part that I thought was awesome. Then we get this moment. 88 comes in and he's like, "Hey, boss, Mayor can't meet with you," and so tells him, "Hey, let's suit up." And in walks the chase. Right? They go in, door gets locked. Mayor's assistant, the headbutt just behind. Or the butthead, actually. Headbutt. Why did I go with headbutt, not butthead? The butthead just over Paul's left shoulder, or right shoulder, if you will. That one that he is scratching. The crack that Paul is scratching right there. He runs. He escapes. He tries to escape, at least. And as he does, Boba sends the Power Rangers after him.
It's the Hogwarts houses.
The Back to the Future music kicks in. The Back to the Future music kicks in.
There is no pink bike. It's red, green, blue, and yellow.
But I mean,
those are the colors of the Hogwarts houses.
All right. I mean, that's
I've seen a couple of people say, "Oh, it's paying homage to American graffiti," and I'm like, why? I mean, by all means, pay homage to other Star Wars stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Nev found out that it was the same amount of time that it took for all the chase scenes in Back to the Future, and the music file was just as long as the chase scene in Book of Boba Episode 3.
Yes. Now,
yes, it's my handiwork.
One thing that I've got to point out, I want to double check this, but I think that I'd have to go back and I'm mad at myself that I didn't do this.
What do you want me to double check? Because we are running long again.
Yeah. So the video director, the videographer of this episode, is connected with Back to the Future. Like that's I don't know if that was a rumor that
directors of photography David Klein and Paul Hewen.
And one of them, if I'm not mistaken, was, like I said, connected to Back to the Future. All cast and crew.
And this episode was indeed written by Jon Favreau, apparently.
Yeah, so this was written by Jon. And so the Noah that we were getting, that they were talking about, was kind of like the team writer. Right? He's there to kind of like help out, to do stuff.
Staff writer.
Yeah, the staff writer, right? He's there to help, right?
Jon Favreau's the head writer.
Yeah, Jon Favreau's the one that kind of
Favreau doesn't sit down and write the whole thing out himself.
No.
He has, right, I want this, and this. Staff writers fill do all of the filling.
See, but I think that there are I think that John would probably have more connection than that.
He's still going to sit down at the writer's desk with the staff writers, and he'll be like, right, this is what we're doing. Give me ideas. And he okays the ideas. So it'll be like, okay, so he's going to run away and we're going to have a chase scene at this point.
Yeah.
And then the staff writers will be, well, we could have this collapse. We could have him crash into that. Yeah. We could have this happen. We could have one of the bikes slide under, at the last. That's what staff writers do. Jon Favreau is there to okay all of the ideas from the staff writers.
Yeah.
But there is no fallibility with a staff writer. A staff writer is not somebody that is, ultimately held responsible. That's the head writer's duty, because the head writer signs off on everything that the staff writers do.
Yeah. And so I don't know, I'm you're right, Paul or Nev. I think I've got no comment to that. You're right. I was gonna say something clever and witty, but I've got nothing. But this is where the mayor's assistant tells us that the Pikes are working with the mayor. The mayor's working with the Pikes. Now, we know from comics that the Pikes are connected at least tangentially to Crimson Reign.
Crimson Dawn, Crimson Reign's the name of the comic.
Oh, Crimson Dawn. Whatever.
Whatever.
Potato, tomato, Paul. Potato, tomato. So I don't know. I'm wondering if I don't see. I don't know. I don't see what's her face being the big baddie, like a lot of people are suggesting. Kira. Do you think that she will be the next character introduced?
Or reintroduced?
No reintroduced.
No idea.
So
no idea. I've no idea where this show is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second episode or the second installment of Crimson Reign will come out in February 22nd. So that's or sorry, February 2nd, not 22nd.
February 2nd. Yeah, I was going to say.
You know, that's 3 weeks from now, which we have 3 more episodes. So that would coincide.
4 more episodes, including tomorrow.
Yeah, so that would coincide with setting up the, you know, the finale of it. So it could be. We could see Kira. We could see Han's lost love.
Well, remember, these aren't happening simultaneously, but still.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But, like, we could see a flashback. We could see any number of other things. But I just love that last moment where he says, or Finnick's like, look, you know, we're going to war. Or they're going to war. And, you know, Boba's like, yeah, and we're going to be ready. Right? We're going to take it to him.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, right. They're gonna be ready.
He's building the crew, man. He's building the crew. So you know what I expect at this point, and this is I guess.
And then we got to get into predictions and ratings.
This will be my prediction. You know how in not Pee Wee Herman, but the Ernest movies, like Ernest Goes to Camp,
Ernest P. Worrell, Jim Varney.
Ernest Scared Stupid, all of those movies, how there's like that arming the hero moment. You know, you have the same thing in like Home Alone movies, right? Where you're building the character and you're setting your defenses. I have a feeling that that's what we're going to see. We're going to see like a montage of them setting booby traps all over the place. And maybe one of the younger persons, when they're like, we need to set up booby traps, like, ha, booby, right? I kind of have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. You know? I feel like that's where they're going with this. The Pikes are going to come in. They're going to be the big bads, right? And
they're going to defend the house from the wet bandits.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I really do. Boba is building himself an army, one person at a time, but I think it needs to be more. So, I don't know. Again, Ming-Na said that, you know, episode 4 is where it all turns around. Allegedly. We'll see.
We'll find out tomorrow.
We will.
I think we do see I think we get what Nev wants, a flashback free episode.
I think potentially you're right.
Do you have a runtime yet?
38 minutes. The exact same runtime we had today, this week. I don't know. Like, I've enjoyed them, but I can totally see where a lot of the criticism is coming from. You know, a lot of it makes sense to me. So
I'm waning.
You're waning, are you?
Oh, majorly. Yeah, I'm majorly waning.
Are you Picard waning or
No,
Clone Wars episodes 5 through 8 waning?
That's what it feels like to me.
It's that middle Clone Wars.
It feels like the middle of Clone Wars. It's like, can we please get on with some good? Can we please get on with some good stuff? Can you please give us the good stuff? You can't give us episodes 1 to 4 and then slow it down to an absolute meaningless crawl with 5, 6, 7, and 8. Although obviously 9, 10, 11, and 12 totally absolutely redeeming. It's, you know, I'm just
and they were.
I need more. I need more than what they're giving me right now. I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. I want to be. But
yeah.
I'm. Don't get me wrong. I'm partially to blame. I set myself some. Obviously,
high standards,
set high expectations,
especially after episode 2.
I had very, very high expectations of this show based on what we were given in The Mandalorian.
Then I
based all of my expectations for the Book of Boba on what we got in The Mandalorian season 2. And so far, none of those expectations have been met. Well, no, that's
none of
them. The flashback story, despite it not being what I would have liked to have seen. I enjoy, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good, good little story that they've thrown. But I'm just not there yet. I really, really am not there. And if it's reported that Ming-Na said, episode 4 is where it all turns around, that simply validates what I'm thinking now.
Yeah.
Why does episode 4 need to turn it around if episodes 1, 2, and 3 have been so great?
That's
why does episode 4 need to turn it around? And that's where it all comes. So that episodes 1, 2, and 3 haven't been. It hasn't brought it. It hasn't brought the goods. Because it hasn't. It hasn't brought the goods for me.
Yeah. Now
I'll start with ratings.
Let me just
this bank to tank is about 25% full for me.
Is it? I
struggled with the episode. Even the Chrysanthemum fight is the only thing that fills it.
Really? So
there was nothing they felt. There was nothing really said about the crew that joined up. They just so happened to show up to help Boba at that time. Then they chased down, the guy. I don't know any of them from Adam.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will defend the chase scene, it needed to be a slow speed chase because otherwise there would have been so much dust kicked up you wouldn't have been able to see anything. Yeah. It's a desert planet. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Wow, Nev.
I'm half. It's half full.
All right.
Half full. So no, it's half empty.
Half it. Oh, it's half empty. All right.
Yeah, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it.
All right. See, I'm going 60% full. Right? The tank has been opened. Right? My bacta has flown out. But I've been able to see.
Are you in your belt diaper?
I am in my belt diaper. In my belt diaper. But I have not been I've not had to use it. Right? Like I don't know whether that's good or bad, to be honest, whether not having to use it. I do.
Have you had your prostate checked?
Oh, it's no. But I am.
You're as old as I am. Go get your.
I know. I need to get the fingers. That's true. Everyone, this has now become a prostate commercial. Joe, thank you for the donation. But what I'm looking at, and I'm looking at this the same way that Run DMV Joe Leaper is saying. He says that how does this into the Ahsoka culmination, the world between the worlds. This is the story building. This is the background info of the story. That's the way that I'm looking at this. I think for me, the big problem is that I can't binge the whole series. Right? As an individual episode, 60%. I'm more than half. It was fun. It was exciting. I had my issues. The dialogue to me for Boba, that doesn't bother me as much. But I think overall, when this entire series or season is out, I'll go back and be like, yep, this was awesome. Someone in the comment, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, said that they feel like this could have been a mini series movie. I would reverse that, Solomon Grundy, who said that. I would make this into a series of mini movies, right? Which for today's crowd would just be like an hour and a half movie, not like mini, but like mini in the epic sense that we've seen so far. Like if this were like what we saw come out of like Sherlock, right? You had three episodes, which were essentially an hour and 30 to an hour and 40 minutes long each per season. And you had 5 hours of show, almost, right? I think that's my big problem with this.
So you want Boba to be played by Bumper Car Cumberbund?
Yes. Well, I want Thrawn to be played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but I'm okay with the Skarsgård of any kind or caliber because those men are terrifying.
What about Milkinson?
Oh, that's who it is, right?
Yeah, you said Skarsgård.
Oh yeah, well, Skarsgård, Milkinson, they're all terrifying, all of them. But I just gotta say, like, I like the show, and I know once it's done, once it's wrapped with season 1, like these reviews that I'm giving, because I've not been as positive with this show as I have with a lot of the other ones. I honestly think that these leading reviews per episode won't compare to what I think of the season once it has completed. That's my big thing. I think overall it's gonna be amazing. Individually, I'm struggling. I'm not as bad as Nev is, but I can definitely see. I feel like I like it a lot more than a lot of other people do. But there are fans out there that make me look like a super fan.
And
you know,
I'm gonna say this though, regardless of how I feel, you feel, any of us feel, this is still Star Wars.
Yeah,
and we're damn lucky to have it.
Yeah, I agree. I still love breaking down these little things. I love looking for the Easter eggs. I love looking back and saying, why did Chrysanthemum not bring a gun? Right? Why did he run away into the desert? He's a Wookiee. It's gotta be hot. Right? That's the last place I would go, into like a cavern of some kind and just wait. But that's a lot of fur. I'm just saying. And I've been bald for too long. But yeah, I mean, I love looking into that and seeing where the connections are. But I think individually, I think that's the issue. But again, I
right really hope we get more of this guy.
The more of the butthead. I think we're
I really
absolutely
hope we get more of this guy, but we'll see.
I gotta read this. I'm gonna stop, and then we'll wrap this up. But I just got a text message from a friend of mine. He is my what do they call him for the Sith? Not master, right? My Sith Lord. I would be his apprentice, right? But I turned to the light where he continued off in the darkness. He says he's calling it now, Mara Jade. At the end of the book of Boba Fett. I don't see it happening.
I said that months ago, but like I said, I'm
not with the current. I see maybe the end of the series introducing Mara Jade, potentially. I would love seeing a Mara Jade as a bounty hunter, because then we could also get one of my other favorite pirates. Oh my gosh, his name just freaking escaped me. Not Hondo. Who was Mara's boss?
I was gonna say Hondo's your favorite.
Yeah, this is pirate. my second favorite.
Who was the one that
Mara's buddy? His
Talon Card.
Talon Card. Thank you. I would love Talon Card in this.
I'd love them. I'd love them in this. It's just the way that the story's going at the moment.
No,
I don't see how you bring them in.
No.
You know, I need some. Should have been building up his forces immediately.
Sure.
Immediately, like episode 1.
Yeah.
Episode 1. It should have just been a parade of ruffians and scoundrels and scum and pirates that all want to come and work for him, that all want to be with him, rather than 2 semi-naked Gamorrean guards. It should have been bounty hunter after bounty hunter. The entourage should have been kicking in. They all should have been wanting a piece of the pie. That would explain.
Well, let's see if we get some pie on the table tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some pirates. So our mateys, I think we are hours away from the next episode. 38-minute runtime. Yeah, 38-minute runtime. We'll see how it runs out, but. Thank you guys for joining us. Paul, Nev, what do you guys have going this weekend?
Well, I'd say if people want to get a different idea of what the podcast could have been, you need to find out what if that were true this Friday.
It's another what if episode, everybody.
Yeah. And you guys have anything going on between now and then?
Or it's a Star Wars Infinites.
Exactly. Star Wars Infinites episode. Coming up, Neil, you've got GAC.
Yep, GAC, lots of it.
On Sunday, we'll be back to we're over 250 gold bricks in Lego Dimensions on Vault 37. So we are now playing the 2016 Ghostbusters storyline in Lego Dimensions. But that means we're a quarter of the way there. We are over a quarter of the way through a 1016 brick game.
Nice. Nev, Paul, thank you guys as always for joining us. Run DMC. Yeah, I got it right the first time.
Yeah, you down with DMV?
DMV, that's right. Thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, check us out next Tuesday as we break down episode 4. Blabbing. Damn it, every time. Blabbing.
Read, look up.
Blabbing about Boba Fett. We'll check it out. Good luck. Happy viewing tomorrow or tonight, whenever you watch the video.
Or yesterday
when if you're seeing this in the past. This has been Thaddeus, Paul, and the Nev.
Everybody remember to be nice to each other, damn it. And Thaddeus,
smile.
Push the freaking button.
Wait, which button?
The button in front of you.
Okay, in stream. Oh, there it is. Found it. Have a great night, y'all.